Okay guys, this one's information to give you a little bit of history so you understand where they came from, how they came to be, and some of the things the evil things that they have done in the past, and some of those old regimes still exist today and are running CPSs and DCSs in every state across the country. A good reference for you to understand the history of child protection in America is something published by John E.B. Myers, A Short History of Child Protection in America. This is going to give you the history from the very beginning of when they first started back in 1935 all the way to what it is current today. Now, here's the dark side of it that most people don't want to deal with. What you're going to take and look for in this, you can find this online, is you're going to look for the Global Down Syndrome Foundation. And this is a report that they put out, the Down Syndrome Human and Civil Rights Timeline is what you're going to look for. This here. What this talks about is sanitariums. So when we had people that had Down syndrome, autism, neurodivergent people that didn't seem to fit in society, they would come take them at birth or as they developed, and they would remove them and put them in sanitariums. Now the dark side of this, and it even talks about Nashville, Tennessee, that they would conduct or they would make extra money from big pharma companies to test their drugs on human subjects. Yeah, human subjects. Second off, there were several cases of pedophilia and rape that were happening to these people that were there, and those children that were born, especially it talks about in Tennessee, the one outside Nashville that was shut down, they took those kids, unregistered kids, and sent them to California. That's right, Hollywood. Oh wait, what's going on currently? Hollywood's being exposed for pedophilia rings? How are they getting their kids? That's right, the Department of Children and Family Services that ran the sanitariums. Now, there was two schools of thought. One was people like that doesn't need to live in our society, hence they need to be in a sanitarium. The other school of thought was those people need to learn to live within our society and be a productive part of our society. That took and was the change that happened under Ronald Reagan that shut down the sanitariums across the country, or until people began to age out and then everything shut down. Well, imagine this. These are businesses. They lost a ton of money when they shut down the sanitariums. For the drug companies to experiment, let alone the amount of children that they were breeding, out there, the children that were being born out of being raped and all the other things that were there, and those babies seemed normal, or they were doing experimentations, or they were, molesting them, and you're talking about kids of all ages from babies on up into adulthood. I mean, you had people from, read the report in the Down Syndrome Timeline. It's pretty disturbing. But this is that old regime that thought that when you shut them down, you took their money. So guess what they got into? That's right, Child Protective Services. That's right, your CPS and DCS agents. They ended up shutting down the sanitarium, so we found a way to make more money. Why? Because not all of them in every state is run by the state. Most of them are privatized and subcontract. So what is your initiative to make money? More kids. They found a way to exploit it. Now, you had other people that gave more money to them, like, guess what? Our old buddy Bill Clinton, that's right, one of the acts he took and signed, gave them more money and more funding. Oh wait, and so did the Obama administration. Now making money off these things. But you see how the cycle goes? You're perpetuating the trafficking of children and the experimentation of children to make a profit for companies. That's why Ronald Reagan and that other school of thought says, no, we need to learn to live with them. But do you know how much they learned the time they did have those kids, how to manipulate them, control them, and get them to do certain characteristics? Who wrote most of those early policies? That's right, folks. The DCFSs that used to run the sanitariums help write the policies for the current CPS and DCSs in every state. That's right, that old regime isn't dead, it's still making money, which is why we're seeing what we're seeing today. This is why child trafficking needs to stop in America under CPS and Child Protective Services. One, it's unconstitutional because, and a Marxist socialism idealism. Why? Because you have a group of people saying that you must be able to meet this standard or you raise them this way or not. If not, we will come steal your children. Well, we have a constitutional right to be left alone and raise our children the way we see fit. That's why we have a constitutional republic, not a democracy. We're supposed to be able to live free, and we're not. Why? Because systems like this exist to come in and violate your constitutional rights, steal your children, put them in the system, and oh wait, then they get with the court systems to what? Family court systems to drain your pocketbook. And then half of the attorneys that are in there, they don't know half of these things in here. Why? Because I dealt with even my own attorney taking and going, I didn't know that exists. I didn't know that was there. Why? Because they didn't know. They weren't taught that. They just perpetuated the same system. This is why this needs to stop. You need to understand who you're dealing with and understand your enemy. This is too much. And these are our kids. If we were willing to fight against Great Britain, for our independence, for taxation without representation, man, they're stealing children and they're being pacified because people feel helpless. Why? Because they don't know their rights. Why don't they know their rights? Well, now let's talk about public education system. Why? Because they're not educating you on your rights or how you live in your society and under your laws. Why? Because it's bare minimum and they can control you. Because they're going to tell you, I have a right to do this, I have a right to do that. That's why DCS and CPS officers have been taking and breaking into your homes, violating your 4th and 14th Amendment rights, when in all honesty, you know what they are? They're nothing more than common criminals breaking and entering into your house. And if you're like in the state of Tennessee, we have a castle doctrine. So think of it as a thief coming in to steal your children. Now, you go from there and you make your own decision as a free American, what you need to do to defend your family. But I'll tell you this much, if anything does happen to him, the first thing that you're going to take and say is, he didn't have a warrant. And he's so many feet in my house. Because here's the thing, criminals come in all shapes and sizes and have several different jobs, but breaking the law is still breaking the law. I hope this helps you better understand a little bit more of the history and some of the corrupt and evil stuff that has gone on that they don't want to take and show you. Why? Because they come under this is a marketing ploy. We're here to save the children. We're here to protect the children. This is propaganda, but it's not the truth of what they do. That's right. And they're even trained to do this. That's right. I have somebody on the inside, several people, that will take and are going to testify once we get to federal court that's right. The CPS of the system of the whole state trains their people to commit constitutional rights violation and empty your home and bully you, intimidate you. I'll call the police, I'll take away your kids, or I'll go to a judge, or I'll lie. Or in my particular case, they'll falsify evidence, destroy evidence, hide evidence, forgery, and then when you try to prove it in a court thinking you're going to get a fair shake, nope, we got the judges and magistrates in our pockets too. Why? Because they don't care about the law. Because the law should be the thing to dictate. It should have stopped. All the ways, particularly in my case, in Bedingfield. Why? Because the contract was null and void, hence they don't have a legal right to do it. But did it stop? Nope. He looked right over it and didn't care. Then you get to Harrington. Well, Mr. Crenshaw admits on the stand that, he didn't give informed consent. And on top of it, he admits to entering the home and coercing his way in. But that's okay to a judge that, we'll just step over those constitutional rights. Why? Because this is civil and family court, and those things don't matter. Or, let me put it to you this way. What was it Bedingfield told me during that case? Oh, yeah. We don't deal with constitutional rights in this courtroom. Funny, I thought every court across America dealt with constitutional rights, Bedingfield. Sounds like you violated your oath of office by opening your mouth. On top of the fact, you illegally seized my home from me and kicked me out of it. Yeah, I was the only one that is on the mortgage, the only one its titled name is, and it was a premarital asset. But you went ahead and did it anyway, did you? Because you didn't do your due diligence. So how many constitutional rights violations are we up to, just in my particular case? Oh, I'd say with multiple cases of doing it over and over again, we're already looking at about, I don't know, over 20, 30 constitutional rights violations. But who do you go to in Tennessee? We don't have an ombudsman. And the police won't take police reports on it. That's right, they didn't, because they're all covering it up. So now's the time we all speak up and hold it accountable. Why? Because now we're going to sound the whistle in Tennessee and expose this here. So you guys need to send us that information. If any of this stuff has happened to you, just keep it sweet and simple. This happened on this particular date. They entered illegally. This is my name. This was my caseworker. Send that over. Why? We're going to turn that over. We're going to take and we're going to show them they have a history of doing this, as well as the fact they train their people. Why? Because we're going to the U.S. Attorney's Office with that one, because, you know, you're stealing from the Social Security Fund and committing felonies, deprivation of rights, and you got judges and magistrates all in your pocket, let alone GALs, committing felonies and not doing their job. Sounds pretty corrupt, but I guarantee you it's going to get to a boiling point where people are going to have enough. But here's the thing, they are not educated. That is the point of all of this, is to help educate and expose this so you don't fall into this same trap and we come together and put a stop to it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.